Hello, good evening. Welcome to the marketplace with Uche Onoche. Welcome, welcome. How's your day? I hope you guys have had a good time like I have had. It was wet here in the city of Port Harcourt in the early hours, but I think the weather is the weather is getting better now. It was quite wet today, but I think it's okay now. So welcome, you guys. Welcome to the marketplace with Uche Onoche today. Today is a lovely day. Today is, I think, is a day that we're talking about. We're still in the series. We're still doing the series on leadership. Let me just tell for perhaps those of you coming in here for the very first time, I want to just tell you a bit of Marketplace Apostles, um, the engine room behind what we do here today. There are five different areas that we cover every year. Every year we do this as our own CSR to people in our network, but not just in our network, to any other person that will tune in to our program. So there are five key areas that we do every year. And that I started from late last year. I started with the business series. I started with business series. I talked about business, which is an arm of what we do here. I've also now we're doing leadership. We're doing the leadership series. Then we also go and we will also do career development. We will now do personal finance. Then we do relationships, which that's our life coaching aspect. Talking about relationship, um, marriage, personal or corporate relationships. How do I handle those things? So this is the five arms of Marketplace Apostle, or our own five-fold ministry, if you will. So this is the five major places, major areas that we cover every year. So we are the second one. Hopefully, we should be able to go round before the year is out. So one more time, welcome to the marketplace with Uche Onoche today, this lovely Monday evening. And today I'm talking about emotional intelligence in leadership. We've all heard about EI, but now we want to now zero it in. We want to zero it in into leadership. Why is emotional intelligence? Why is it important for us to talk about, as leaders, to talk about emotional intelligence? I believe that Africa generally is in dire need of leadership. The corporate world is in dire need of leadership, and I tell people that it is already, things are already changing. I'm telling you, the way we did business before. Okay, someone is saying mute your mics. Let me just do that. For please, if you come in, just please mute your mic so that others will be able to. Okay, I think it's Daniel that came. All right, so yeah, all the mics are mute right now. So let me just go on. I was saying that Africa is in dire need of leadership, and the corporate world is not spared. The way business was done 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it can't work right now. So leadership is being when we teach leadership, we're teaching leadership from a contemporary point of view. It's not about master servant anymore. It's not about boss subordinate anymore. It does not work. It's no longer helping businesses to be successful. It's no longer helping businesses to scale. So is employment now is different from the way it used to be. The way you handle your staff, it is totally different. If you want to, oh, I have the money, I'm paying you salary, and so you have to do exactly what I want you to do. What you're going to have in your company is that you're just going to have people coasting along, getting that salary and waiting for the next big thing. I'm just waiting for something better to come. And that's not what we are looking for. We're looking for employees that have the mindset of partners, that come as partners. And who knows? I tell my staff, I say, what I will really want to see is a situation that you become an employee. Then from being an employee, you are now elevated to become something like a junior partner. But it will go through some processes. For you to move from an employee to become a leader, you move from an employee to become a leader in the company, and that means you're beginning to have, you're beginning to imbibe the vision. You're beginning to buy into the vision. You're beginning to be part of the leadership. You have the mindset of that business being that business succeeding. If I see a staff that has a mindset of businesses succeeding, I will perhaps think of, if you're not going to become a partner, then you're going to become, first of all, an internal consultant before you can now become an external consultant. I have people that have worked for me. They're my consultants now. And sometimes I go, if I want something done and I know that they are the ones that can do it, already they understand the vision of the house. What I do is that I send it to them. They understand exactly what to do. So I want employee to move to become a leader in-house. We dealt with that last week. Being a leader in-house, it means that you're beginning to think like the owner. You are an employee, but you are thinking like the owner. You are thinking as a partner, not as an employee. Such people should be elevated to become consultants, internal consultants. I've had situations that I have a staff that is internally is a consultant. When we go out to meet clients, we go as one company, but internally is a consultant. So when we come back and do that project, because some of the things I do is construction, so it's easy to do that in construction. So I can have a civil engineer. We all tender for a job and do all that, but when we come back in, we are able to. Now you invoice me for that which you're going to do. Are you going to do the foundation works? Are you going to do? Whatever aspect of the building that is the next, as we are given instruction to do, you will do it and you give me invoice. But we all seen from outside as one company. Then the person can decide to stay like that, or they move to become external consultants. But even external consultants, you can bring them in and use them to source for jobs, and you do it. The important thing is that there is an understanding. So it is not, and some of these people, for me, they started as employees. So that is the future. That's what I needed to put this out. Is not part of my presentation, but I needed to put it out there because the way we employ is totally is archaic. The way we understand employment before is archaic now. We need to look at the 21st century employee and how do we cope with this person. So welcome once again, and today, like I said, I'm dealing with the topic emotional intelligence in leadership. Okay, Does your emotional, let me just start with asking some questions. Please, if you're on Zoom, sorry, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, and if you're Instagram and Facebook, if you want to move over to Zoom or to move over to YouTube, just follow the link, because those on YouTube and those on Zoom are able to see the PowerPoint presentations. But if you are okay where you are, it's not a problem. So let's look at an overview. Does your emotional intelligence lift your team to new heights? The essence of emotional intelligence is not to acquire something that is like a label anymore. No, is it helping your team? When you think about a perfect leader, what comes to your mind? Do you picture someone who never allows his temper to get out of control, no matter what he's facing? Or perhaps you might think of someone who has the complete trust of his staff, listens to his team, is easy to talk to, and always makes careful, informed decisions. Yes, this might be to an extent, to a degree, a high level, a quality of emotional intelligence in leaders, in leadership. But there is more. We need to understand, we need to look at it holistically and see what is this emotional intelligence, and how can he help me to be a better leader, so that my organization, my company can become more successful. So that is the essence of this presentation, to help you look at why emotional intelligence is so important for leaders, and why you as a leader can improve yourself. Okay, so let's find out what is emotional intelligence. We kick off from there. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, to manage your own, understand and manage your own emotions and of the people around you. Not just being able to understand your own makeup. You have to understand your own makeup. You have to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and be able to manage your own emotions to the extent that how it affects people around you. Your emotions they affect whatever you do. Every action has its own resultant reaction. So know that everything that you do has its own reaction coming. So make sure you can determine your own reaction, what bounces back to you in terms of your employee, because as a leader, you are leading people. Organizations are made up of people. So when we talk about leadership, it's about influencing people. People to a high degree of emotional intelligence know what they are feeling and what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect people, other people. You must be aware the things that you say, do, how it affects other people. That is the beginning of the journey of emotional intelligence, and how you can become successful as a leader. So just look at these scenarios. Who is likely to succeed more? A leader who shouts at his team when he's under stress, or a leader who stays in control and calmly assesses the situation? I used to have a man he was the chairman of a company when I was the MD of the company briefly. And when he's coming into the office, the staff would be greeting him, and he wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer. And sometimes he comes out of his office and he's just barking, like a wild dog, just barking, trying to intimidate people. And I asked him, I said, why are you doing this? He said, yes, they need to know that the boss is around, so everybody should sit up. Somebody your employees being scared of you or afraid of you does not mean they're going to do the right things. On the contrary, they will make a lot of mistakes. They will make a lot of errors. because they are afraid. And when employees are afraid, do you know what they do? They don't do anything. They will rather come to you, sir, can we do this? Nobody is going to take their initiative, use their initiative to do something for you. Nobody is going to do that. So you must, people in a healthy organization where leaders control themselves, calmly assess situation before they react. Those are the kind of environments that can help. That kind of leader will get more done than the person that is screaming. Because when you scream at certain people, they lose their initiative. They don't want to take responsibility for anything. So all you have is employees that are not ready to stretch themselves in any way or any form. So what happens is that, okay, someone is asking, are we allowed to interact or submit to question? Well, no, I would rather finish my presentation, then we can talk, or maybe if I finish, get to a point in my presentation, I can ask for question. I think Mr. Tebo is asking for that. So I will at some point stop and maybe ask for questions, so that I can carry you guys along, or I just finish it up and we can now discuss. Okay, so according to Daniel Goleman, this is American psychologist who helped to popularize emotional intelligence. He says there are 5 key elements of emotional intelligence, and these are the makeup, and these are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. These are the 5 arms of emotional intelligence. And the more that you as a leader manage each of these areas, the higher your emotional intelligence. So let's look at each of these elements and see how we can grow in this, how we can imbibe this, how we can make this work. Because it's one thing to understand the definition of emotional intelligence, but you need to know the different arms, the different aspect of it, and work on yourself. Everybody must work on themselves from time to time so that you can become better at it, develop a higher level, a higher degree of emotional intelligence, so that you can be more successful at work. So let's now interrogate these different arms of this emotional intelligence and see what we can learn from it. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness. If you are self-aware, you always know how you feel, and you know how your emotions and your actions can affect people around you. If you are self-aware, you always know how you feel. You must know how you feel and how these emotions and your actions can affect people around you. Being self-aware is when you are in leadership position, also means having a clear picture of your strength and your weakness, and it means behaving with humility. So know yourself. I think one who is this Socrates that say, to thyself be true. Knowing yourself is one of the greatest tool any leader can have. So you must be able to understand the area of your strength and the area of your weaknesses, so you'll be able to work on your weaknesses. And so at times I have seen a lot of leaders that have anger. I worked with a leader once and he had anger issue, and I said, look, all of us have anger issue. Sometimes employees or those under you can really drive you crazy, but when you are exposing that side of you, it can become something that will be detrimental in your achieving the overall objective of what you want. So you must take your strength and your weaknesses. So what do you do? How can you improve on your self-awareness? One of the ways you can do that is to have a journal. A journal is not like you're going to sit down and be writing lots of things, but as it relates to you as a person. And for me, I used to use a journal, don't use it again. I will be able to write and I say, this happened. What is the likely response I need? How do I respond to this person that did this to me or did this in the office? How do I respond? Because sometimes it's easy for you to slow down when you experience anger or other strong emotions. Slow down to examine why. It is always important. It helped me to also curb my anger. I am driven. I'm a very driven person, and I am target oriented. I am driven, and when I want to achieve something, everything about me is focused on achieving that. So if I have someone within that is in my team that is not working in that line, usually before now I am impatient. I don't want to, and you can upset me to the extent that maybe I will openly get upset with that person. But that is not, that type of anger alienates the person further from the team. And what if you're not in a position maybe to replace the person or to sack the person? You are not the MD. What do? You see that you have a thorn in your flesh throughout that. I meditate. I use meditation a lot. um, I use meditation a lot, and I meditate. I when I train leaders, I tell them every leader should be awake between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. And there's no successful. Most successful people are up at that time, 4:30 in the morning. And I tell leaders, try as much as possible. Take 1 hour. If you don't have 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I'm not talking about prayer now. I'm just talking about just sit down and just think. And the day when I started it, I realized that once I sit down to think, I have all manner of crazy thoughts, stupid thoughts coming into my head. I used to think it was me until I realized that you cannot control those thoughts. You can't control the thoughts that come to your head, but you can control the effect of those thoughts, what they have. Don't dwell on them, because when you dwell on them, you're giving them oxygen. And that oxygen that you give them is what makes them begin to work in you. So when somebody is upset, or when somebody upsets you, I will advise that you calm down and take time in the morning. This is what this staff did to me. How will I be? Do I, first of all, take time and talk to him and try to counsel him as a brother and try to see where his problem is? See, having someone work well goes beyond doing the work. I've had a staff, he was good when he came, but somewhere along the line, he became forgetful. He made us lose a lot of money, almost 500,000 naira at once, and I wasn't happy, but I controlled myself and I asked him. I realized that this guy was having some form of marital issues. His father came to visit. His father was sick and he came to visit them, and the wife wasn't happy, but maybe he didn't tell her. So he was going through a lot and was affecting his job. And at that time, he didn't have anyone to mentor him. So I was able to call him and I spoke to him. I realized that after a week, the guy bounced back because I gave him tips. So sometimes it's not it's not being physically present that matters. You might be physically present, but your heart is not there. His spirit was not with me because he had issues. But as long as that one was sorted out, what if I started screaming at him and the guy left and go to somebody else, or he further deteriorates? This is the danger of not being self-aware, because that whatever you do can have an impact on someone else. So slow down, take it easy, and understand yourself. If you know that you have anger issue, or you know that whatever issue you have strong emotions, and I think you should slow down and find time to think through before you can give your response. When your response is when your response, when your thought is mature, then you can take action. Someone asked me, the admin person in my office asked me, what do we do when it comes to disciplinary, when someone disobeys, or no, or when someone is no longer fit, seen as no longer fit for the organization. And I had to give a long room. I said, look, let us interview, have a meeting. At the end of the meeting, let the person know that this is like a warning for them to sit up. If he continues to write them a letter, that the organization is thinking that if there's an issue, see the HR. There were some steps we developed. So you are not just kicking somebody out. You are giving them the room, for them to be able to adjust before you can take that decision. So being self-aware, you also know that somebody helped you along the line. Somebody was patient with you along the line, and that's why you're able to develop to who you are. So when you are self-aware, you won't feel insulted for anything. You won't feel insulted. For me, the vision is too great for me to feel insulted, for me to feel angry. I'm more focused on achieving that than having in whatever way to see that I am angry or I have strong emotions towards something. The vision is more important. And as a leader, you must be able to control yourself to do that. Okay, permit me to take one more that perhaps I will ask question, since one of our guests have talked about asking. Let me just take self-regulation, then maybe we'll see if we can chat before I can finish the rest of the 3 elements of emotional intelligence. What do I mean by self-regulation? Leaders who regulate themselves efficiently rarely verbally attack others, make rushed or emotional decisions, stereotype people. Stereotyping people is out of impatience, because when somebody fails, doesn't mean that that person is a failure. Doesn't mean that that person is a failure. Failure is an event, it's not a person. So don't stereotype somebody because he's slow to learn. Some people that are fast to learn, they don't keep up in the long run. It's not how fast you go, but how well you go, because the end justifies the means. Leaders that regulate themselves don't compromise on their values. Self-regulation talks about staying in control. Staying in control. This Goldman chap says that leaders should covers emotional intelligence for leaders, also covers leaders' flexibility and commitment to personal accountability. So how do you find yourself? How do I improve myself by regulating? How do I self-regulate myself when there are issues, when I find myself in an issue that maybe I will lose control and not be able to be in control to handle matters well? It all revolves around your values. Every leader must have values. I've taught it here over and over. As personal human beings, we all need to have our own core values. Every company, organization has vision, mission statement, core values. It's very important that you have your core values. How do you know your core values? You have a clear idea of where you absolutely will not compromise as a leader. And you must know which values are important to you before you're able to self-regulate. Spend some time understanding what is your own boundaries. What are the boundaries? What are the no-no? What are the things that are deal breakers for you as a leader? It will help you to regulate yourself. If you know what's important to you, then you probably won't have to think twice when you face a moral or ethical question, you will make the right decision. Hold yourself accountable if you tend to blame others over something that goes wrong. Make a commitment to admit to yourself mistakes. What are the boundaries in terms of integrity and honesty? The more of yourself that you bring out, the more respect you're going to get. When we are calm and relate everything based on our core values. Like one of my core values is that helped me with anger issue is the vision is greater than anyone. The vision is greater than any one of us or any situation. So I always point people to the big picture and not to me as a person, as a leader. We are here. It is the vision that I shared with you that excited you to be part of what we're doing. It is the vision or the success story so far that attracted you. So I continue to put the vision out there. And once the vision is out there, it helps you to self-regulate. Because some people in a split second can destroy all they have been trying to do. When you have that, understand what the values are, your core values, your weaknesses, and your strength, it's easy for you to be calm no matter the situation you find yourself. And now is about emotional intelligence. Now is about when you are calm, you are able to take the right decisions instead of jumping into conclusions and stereotyping people. So do you believe that stress of shouting at someone, some people, what they do is they just scream. When they are upset, they just scream. When they are under pressure, they just scream. There's a psychiatrist at one time I was discussing with said, just try, instead of screaming and saying all those negative things, try as much as possible to we all know about taking long breaths or deep breaths. It calms you down. It actually does. By the time you take like 10 deep breaths, it does calm you down. The psychiatrist, I don't know if all of us will have the time to do that, but it's good to do that, to just write them down. Instead of tearing somebody up, tearing them with your mouth and your harsh words, why don't you tear that paper? It helps you to control your anger so that you can make the right decisions. Instead of say those things you want to say out loud, put it down. But for me, I went beyond writing it down, tearing it up, but now writing down my own responses to people. It helps me to challenge my own reaction. And how do I react to somebody like this? When I say somebody should be calm, I'm not saying you shouldn't be firm. I'm not saying you shouldn't even sack someone. But what I'm saying is that we should be able to respond to self-regulate to the extent that we must be clear and in control of the actions that we take in the workplace. The days of screaming at people, there is gone. The days of not looking at people, the paycheck or the salary you're giving to them, instead of looking at them as valuable entities, not as disposable entities. It becomes easy for you to say you are here because you are valuable. Another thing that helped me is that I made sure that everyone, I keep saying it everywhere I go, that everybody around me is smarter than me. So it will be difficult for me to let you go because I know that you are worth something to me. So I wouldn't let you go, except it's absolutely necessary for us to do. So if you know yourself, self-awareness and self-regulation will be able to help you to make the right decisions. The third one is motivation. But right now, someone wanted to ask me a question. So I think it's a gentleman that wanted to ask a question. So perhaps I'll take your question before I move on to the other three. If you're ready with your question, you can just type it out or let me. or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Okay, do I go on? Okay, perhaps I go on. I'm not getting any response. Let me go on. All right. So the third one is motivation. Motivation. The third element of emotional intelligence is motivation. So let's look at what motivation is all about. Self-motivated leaders work consistently towards their goals. They have extremely high standards for the quality of their work. You have to be motivated for you to motivate others. If you're not motivated, there is absolutely no way you can. You have to be excited about the vision that you carry. If not, you'll not be able to motivate others. I try not to hang out with people. I've had a lot of people tell me that the vision that I carry, they want to give me different angles of how to do it and try to let me know that the way I'm doing it is not the right way that we need to do it. Some have told me that this vision is too big. It's not going to happen. So I try as much as possible. If you're not excited about my vision, then I don't need to tell you about it. Because if you allow negative words to get into you, after a while, those negative words begin to build doubt inside of you. And as a leader, doubt can make you less effective because of what one friend said, what one family member said. What sometimes family members are part of the problems that we have, because they know you from birth, they know you, and they don't know that there has been some form of transformation in you, and they still look at you as that boy that used to run around all over the place. But something has happened. You're a man on a mission, but they don't see that. And so make sure you don't allow a lot of people say a lot of negative things into your life, because they will breed doubt, self-doubt after a while, and that will lead to lead to the vision not being able to be successful in the long run. So how do you improve your motivation? Re-examine why you are doing what you are doing. Sometimes it's easy for us to forget why we really love that, what we're doing. If it's a job, why we love our job, our career, our business, the things that we're doing. If we are running a vision, why we really love it. Sometimes we can be so overwhelmed by the things that we need to do that we forget, that we at times forget the reason why we started. Every time I remember when I used to talk to my father about it, if you tell him that you don't understand, it tells you that please write your vision. When you are in doubt, go back to the beginning. I had that a lot as a teenager. Go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning. Because sometimes we forget, and we keep modifying, and we forget the actual reason why we started all this. Take some time to remember why you wanted to do that that business or whatever it is that you want to do. If you're unhappy about where you are, I want to, sorry, I think, if you're unhappy about where you are, there's, I don't have time there's a technique called 5 whys technique. 5 whys technique. You can just Google it. It can help you get to the root cause of any problem. 5 whys technique. 5 whys, WHYS techniques. When you Google it, it will give you steps of how you can, if you're struggling with anything, how you can find the root cause of that problem. Because you need to deal with that root cause for you to remain motivated. You must be motivated, because if you're not motivated, you cannot motivate others. Starting at the root often helps you to look at situations in a new way. Going back to the beginning, understanding the root cause of the problem, it helps you even chart a new course. It can help you develop another goal statement, mission statement, and it helps the vision, the goals to be fresh and energizing when you go and revisit the reason why you started in the first place. Okay, you must be motivated. Listen to tapes, listen to motivational speakers, listen to things that inspire you. Take courses on the radio. Listen, download things that will continue to encourage you and to boost your spirit to remain motivated. You know, pushing a vision is not easy. I tell people sometimes I feel like dropping all things and I'll just run away. But I have to go to a place that I need to get motivated so that I can continue to do what I do. Know where you stand. Determine how motivated you are led. Take leadership courses. It will help you to understand, to motivate, to see clearly how you can motivate yourself. A lot of leadership courses, good ones, will motivate you. Leaders need to remain optimistic no matter the problem that you face. What are the things you listen to first thing in the morning, last thing at night? And make sure that the things I say, I mutter a lot of things. I do some confession. I do auto suggestions to myself, to my subconscious mind. I do auto suggestion to my subconscious mind, and I talk a lot that motivate me, that motivate the vision at where I'm going. I talk to myself in the morning. I talk to myself last thing at night. I want to wake up energized, and most times I wake up with ideas. I'm having different new ideas on how to make it work. You know, you need to adapt a mindset that will help you achieve what you want to achieve. Every time you face a challenge is an opportunity. There is always one good thing about that challenge. Failure is a ladder that leads you to success. So failure is good to an extent. It's when you fail all the time that it becomes a problem. Some of us need to fail so we know the right way. Failure is just an indicator that you didn't do it right. Now find the right thing to do so that you can scale. So failure is a good pointer. It depends on how we see it. So failure can demotivate you or it can motivate you. It depends on how you take it. There is always something for you to learn. There is always something positive for you to learn, even when things go wrong. Keep yourself. The things that I don't watch everything on television. Sometimes I get up and walk away. If somebody is watching something I don't like, I get up and walk away. I don't want to feed myself with negativity. Because everything you read, watch, has a way of creeping up on you, and it can have some kind of negative effect and impact on you. So I don't want anything to demotivate me. Not at the level I'm pushing my vision, or whatever business you're pushing, you must be very careful. All right, let me move quickly to round up. Number 4 is empathy. For leaders, having empathy is critical to managing a successful team and an organization. Leaders with empathy have the ability to put themselves in other people's shoes. And that is what empathy is all about. Ability to put yourself in other people's shoes. Ability to think, why is this guy coming late to work? I had a staff and she kept on coming late, and I kept on asking why, you know, and I called her one day, and she said to me that where she lives, There are a lot of bad boys that come out to smoke Indian hemp early in the morning. So she lives very far. So for her to, she cannot come out at that time because she probably will be harassed, molested, or whatever. So she has to wait until it's fully bright before she comes to work. So when I realized that, I said, oh, I put myself in her shoes. Even men are robbed, not to talk about a young lady. So what I did was I gave her 30 minutes to 1 hour extension. When people resume by 8, she resumes by 9 because of that. It's because I put myself in her shoes so that I can understand. It's like relating, doing business and with a human feeling. Understanding where people are. And when you are able to put yourself in people's shoes, it will help you to develop, it will help you to develop people in your team. It will help you to challenge others who are acting unfairly. Yes. Because if somebody is acting unfairly, it can have a ripple effect on other people. When you think and put yourself in people's shoes, it can help you to give constructive feedback and listen to those that need it. If I did not listen to that lady, I would not know that she's not living in a good area. And I made a mental picture. I said, wow, maybe in a year's time, we need to think of how we can help her with rent, house rent, so that she can move closer to the city. It's because I was able to put myself in her shoes. If I have a driver that lives far, when his rent is over, I will bring him closer to where I live. So if I close late, he doesn't have to get home late. He doesn't have to go very far to get home. It's just putting myself in his shoes. And sometimes I leave early. So how will he get to the house or the office? He has to live close. So at that point, you can help them make that transition by paying Okay. Sharing. All right. Sorry, guys, for all right. Sorry, guys, for that. Can you guys hear me? Can just someone just on Zoom? Can you just wave or something and just let me know that? Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let me just go on. Yeah. So I was talking about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. I was talking about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's easy for you to support your own views, but when you take time to look at situations from other people's perspective, it helps to build you as an effective leader. Example, let's take an example of how empathy can help you respond to people. As you ask your assistant, for instance, most of us that work late at times can happen, or work during weekends. You can ask your assistant, you're working late or you're working this weekend with me, and you might see some form of disappointment in the face of your assistant. But when you see that, try to put yourself in his shoes, and you have to respond to his feelings. Don't say, because I'm the boss, well, let him suffer it to be so. No, you have to respond because you are feeling. He's a family man, is younger, maybe he's living very far away. There are many things. You can respond by saying things like this. Tell him you appreciate how willing he is to work extra hours, and that you are just as frustrated because the client is making you work this number of hours to meet that project. Let him realize that it is not you, it's about the demand from the customers or from your clients. And without those clients, two of you will not be paid. So let the clients, let your staff understand the reason why. But he's not the owner of the company. He doesn't have to go through all that for you, but try to compensate. And I'm not just talking about overtime. You can have had a situation, someone tell me that they work late and they don't have vehicle, and the boss will have to hire. Now you have Uber, and you have taxi hailing all over, Taxify and all that. So you can call one for the guy, and one of my friends, he worked up till, I think he was to 12, and I was telling him, why didn't you call a taxi for your employees? He said, no, they don't live far, but they could be mugged on the way. Try to make them understand. After you tell them that you are under pressure and that's why they would need to work, you also give them something. You can give them cash, you can call them a taxi, or you can say, because you have worked this weekend with me, you can take Monday morning off, resume in the afternoon, or you can take that Monday off, and so that you can take your children to school, be with them on a Monday for a change, hang out with your wife for a change on Monday, and resume on Tuesday. Let it be that there is something that you're giving them, to make them know that you appreciate what they did. Okay, finally, I will talk about the social skills. This is the last arm of emotional intelligence. Leaders who do well in social skills are mostly leaders that are great communicators. They are just as open to bad news as well as good news. Some people don't know how to take bad news, but leaders should be able to communicate. When something happens that is good, and when something happens that is not so good, a leader is communicating with his actions, with his words, with his body language. He's communicating every single day. And great communicators, that they are experts in getting their team to support them and be excited about the new mission and project. Remember when we started this leadership series, I gave you an example of a leadership. I can't remember the guy now. His own definition of leadership is getting people to do what they will not normally want to do and love it. So you must be talking, you must be communicating. You won't stay in your office and send email and use WhatsApp and you're talking. You must communicate with your people. So communication skill is very key for any leader that wants to scale through emotional intelligence. Leaders who are good, that have good social skills, are also good at managing change and resolving conflict diplomatically. Let me talk about conflict. There's a guy that felt he was in operations and he had an issue with the admin guy who doesn't give him things on time for him to go to site. And he complained to the MD, and the MD didn't think it was that much of a problem, but it was for this guy. And because he has said it so many times and the MD didn't say anything, he assumed, being Africans, coincidentally, I know that it did not matter. But him, the admin guy and the MD were not related, but they were from the same tribe. And sometimes these tribal things can be an issue. And he said, oh, okay, because I'm not from that tribe, my issues. And this guy stepped back, and the projects were not being finished on time. The clients were complaining and all that because the manager, the leader, did not resolve this conflict. It could just be a standing meeting of 5 minutes, be able to resolve it. Always watch the faces of your staff, people around you. Manage change. Don't expect them to manage change. How can you do an MD just added Saturday hours, working hours, said from today for the next 3 months we will be working on every Saturday right now. And he didn't tell the people. He didn't call them, have meetings, give them reason why they should. He was not managing that time. And guess what? There was one excuse or the other. My child is sick. My wife is sick. I am sick. I am this. I am that. Most people didn't keep it up until it frustrated the actions of this MD. So a good communicator is someone that can be able to resolve issues and manage changes. Another thing with leaders with good social skills is that they are rarely satisfied leaving things the way they are. They just don't sit back and allow someone else to do the work. They lead by examples. For you, because you have to be there. You have to be in the olden days or in the ancient times. You see that warrior leaders warrior kings are better rated than the kings that sit in the palace and give instruction, rather than a king that will go with you to go to war with you. So you need to build your social skills. It's very, very important as a leader that you build your social skills, because it helps you to improve your emotional intelligence. Okay, learn conflict resolution. There's a lot of courses on the internet on conflict resolution, on skill, on communication skills. There are many that are free. If you go to Coursera, if you go to just Google conflict resolution, you see it, because you need to know how to resolve issues between team members, between customers, between vendors. If not, you will have issues at your hand. You will have issues, and those issues can be detrimental to your organization and company. So learn conflict resolution. Maybe one of these days, if I if we check, I check my schedule. Maybe I can take a course on take a training on conflict resolution, because I think that leaders need it. Okay, then you also need to improve your communication skills, how well you communicate. There are communication quizzes that you can find on the internet, many of them that can help give you useful feedback that can help you improve. You see, thank God for the internet. A lot of these things are out there that can help you. So Google communication quiz, you will see them, and it will guide you and help you know the areas that you need improvement and areas that you don't. Another very key importance of social skills is learn how to praise others. It's very important that you learn how to praise others. As a leader, you can inspire the loyalty of your team by simply giving them praises when it's earned. Learning how to praise others is a fine act, but you must learn it. It's well worth the effort. Praise people, give people accolades, give them what is due them. And most of the time, it's just recognition in meetings. Say thank you. Thank you for what you have done. Send them a letter. Make them the best staff of the month. Do those things for them that just make them appreciated. Give them bonus, give them money, give them reward, cash reward, anything that you can to say thank you for what you do. Praise people. If they dress well, praise them. Whatever they do, no matter how small, praise them. It has a way of increasing, boosting the morale of people, and that's really what gets your team going. To be effective, in summary now, before I'll take one or two questions, to be effective, leaders must have a solid understanding of their emotions, I've said, and the actions, because their emotions and their actions can affect people around them. So please do not act. Just take time, take a minute or two to reflect on the possible reactions that this my action, this my words, what it can, how it can impact somebody else. If not, you will go on and you will see that the things that you're doing will come back to become detrimental to the organization. The better a leader relates to you and works with others, the better a leader relates to and works with others, the more successful he or she will be. Take the time to work on your self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills. Working on these areas will help you excel in future. Ladies and gentlemen, I've come to the end of my presentation, but I'll leave you with this. What we know about leadership in terms of dealing with people in these contemporary times is not the way it used to be. Employees are more like partners right now. They're more like people. No matter what, you need people. Your appraisal is based on how you gather people and let those people achieve the objective of why you people gather in the first place. If it's for profit, it's people that you will use to make that profit. Whatever you're doing, you're using people. So as a leader, you must be able to you must be able to use people. Put that link, guys. You must be able to use people. So it's important that you learn how to use whatever you do, your emotions don't get carried away, and when it's going to have a wrong and negative impact on people, and that thing will rub off on the organization. So in these times, try as much as possible, control yourself, take time, think through your actions. It is not about being soft. You can be firm, you can sack, but let it be that you have thought about it thoroughly and how it can have impact with even those. If you're sacking someone, know how you do it so that you don't kill the morale. You don't totally demoralize the person for life, and also to demoralize the unit where he's coming out from. Think these things through and you will realize that you will earn the respect of people. The corporate world, as we know it, especially in Africa, we need this. We need to understand emotional intelligence, apply it until we become good at it. Nobody can be perfect at it, but you can continue to do it, and you will be able to achieve a high degree of emotional intelligence. And this is what we all need to be able to scale. So I will stop here now. If you want to ask any questions, if you're on Zoom, Instagram, wherever you are, if you want to ask a question, you can put it out there. For those of you on Zoom, you can either write it out or you can unmute your mic and you ask so that I can answer, take one or two questions before we call it a day. Okay, while I'm waiting, let me just tell you about Wednesday. I do a live coaching session every Wednesday by 4 p.m. Nigerian time. I do a live coaching, and this live coaching is in our 5 areas. The 5 areas of our focus as a foundation here, and that is the area of business, career, leadership, personal finance, then relationship, even as it relates to marriage and personal and corporate relationships. And so if you have any question within that area, please be glad to I'll be glad to listen to answer those questions for you. Also, if you know someone that has questions within this area, please send them this link and let them come up by 4 p.m. What I would advise, please go to Uche Onochie Marketplace or Marketplace Apostle on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and like it so that you can get our programs every Monday and every Wednesday. I'm live for the coaching and for the webinar, that which I'm doing here right now. It's a form of CSR out there to help people that want to help people. We started doing the lockdown to help people to grow in these areas. So if you know someone, just kindly send it to them, this information to them. Let them come on Wednesday. On Wednesday is quite exciting. I talk about different aspects, and I can also bring in different speakers to answer those questions and make it more fun. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday and also on Monday again. Bring your friend along and let us, the more the merrier. Okay. If you want, I have a group of mentees. I have a close group of mentees that I mentor to greatness. If you want to be part of that, there's a link that we'll put out there. Can someone put it up on Zoom also? I will just say it's Linktree / Uche Onochie, but it's spelled like this: LINK TR .ee / Uche Onochie, one word. LINK TR .ee / Uche Onochie, one word. If you want someone, if you know someone that wants to be mentored in these 5 areas, perhaps you can send them that link and for them to be part of it. So until we see, I don't have any questions now, but until we meet next Wednesday, if you can put out the question, put it out on my DM. Okay, I have one question here now. You can put it out on my DM. Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you for putting it out there. All right, so you can put out the the question on my DM, whatever you want, and I'll be able to answer it on Wednesday. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. Thank you on Zoom. Thank you on Facebook. Thank you on Instagram. Thank you, guys. Have a blessed night and a good night rest. See you on Wednesday. Goodbye.
Actually, all the network I have is not working. I think those are the only network I have.